This is the County Fair podcast, where fair influencers share their valuable insights, strengthening and growing the long-lived tradition of the County Fair. This episode is brought to you by ShoWorks. ShoWorks fair entry software has set the gold standard for fairs across the United States and Canada for more than 20 years, serving more than 75% of the country's fairs. ShoWorks is a place to handle fair entries, billings, payouts, and the incorporation of virtual elements into your show and auction. Visit www.fairsoftware.com to learn more. Today's scripture is from Genesis 27. May God give you heaven's dew and earth's riches, an abundance of grain and new wine. Genesis 27, verse 28.
Welcome to the County Fair podcast. I'm your host, Christina Rudolph, and here with me is my co-host, Jeffrey Palermo.
Howdy.
Today, we're going to hear from Ashlee Laird. She is the CT Instructional Specialist over Ag Sciences at Katy ISD in Katy, Texas. Welcome, Ashlee.
Hello, how are y'all?
We're doing great.
Awesome.
Good.
I have to say, we've been excited about getting you on our podcast. You just wrapped y'all's season, y'all's 2021 show, and tell those that are listening a little bit about the history of the Katy Livestock Show and how it came to be. And then I want to hear more about your successes.
We have a really cool standing tradition in our school district. Back in the 40s, we had an ag science teacher that wanted to create a livestock show and auction for the students combined with a rodeo. So back in the 40s, they started it, and it was just attached to the original Katy High School here in our district. And as our district's grown, the show has grown. So the first show, I want to say, was in the 47. I think we're on our 77th annual now. And we're now at 9 high schools. So way larger than it was back in the 40s.
A lot of growth.
Nice.
Yes, lots of growth. And at the original show, they only showed hogs and steers. We now show hogs, steers, lamb, goats, broilers, and fryer rabbits. So all market animals only at our fair. And we have a nice new show facility for all the kids to show at that we can talk about later. But it's a longstanding tradition in our community, and we have over 500 kids show every year.
500 kids showing. That is amazing.
Yes. So it's a big thing here. And we're kind of unique in that our kids pick their animals through a lottery draw, so they don't have to go out and find the animals. We bring breeders in. So the kids do a lottery draw, and if you're pick number 1, you get to pick your animal first. So everybody's on an equal playing field. So it's really cool to see how the kids feed and work their animals to really bring them above and beyond from day one. This year, one of our grand champion animals was almost second to last pick. So it doesn't really matter where you pick at. It matters how you feed it and work it.
That's amazing. Do most of your kids are showing, are they doing this because it's like they've had family members do this in the past, or do you have a lot of new kids showing for the first time?
It's a combination. So I would say a lot of our Katy and Taylor High School or Taylor FFA grads, their parents grew up probably doing it and being active in FFA, and it's a legacy for them. But our newer schools, it's definitely kids that maybe have taken our intro to ag class as a freshman and they get intrigued in it, and then they just raise their freshman year. A lot of kids start with rabbits and then they move on up the chain. And so it's a mixture of people that have experience and people that don't. But I would say 80% of our kids don't have zero knowledge of it when they start as a freshman.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So do each of your schools have ag teachers present to be able to help them through?
Oh, yes. We have 38 ag teachers in our district.
Nice.
And we're growing. Yes, we should go to 40 next year.
Amazing.
Yes. And we even have 3 teachers that teach vet med only and don't even do animals. So there's extras on the side. But yeah, we have 38 ag teachers this year between 9 campuses.
That is amazing. That is true growth and true to the roots of Katy. I mean, I remember when Katy was just rice fields back in the day. So not too long ago.
We still have some rice farming families that their kids are active in ag too, that their parents have been here for years. Our newest high school that just opened this year is named after the Jordan family, who are local farmers to this area, and this school was named after them.
That's really neat.
Mm-hmm. So all their kids went through ag, and one of their grandsons was a state FFA officer in Texas 5 years ago. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, that's really cool. So with your show, I I know there's some things that are unique to how y'all run things. Y'all ensure every kid gets the opportunity out there. But, I've noticed y'all had a live sale. You had a barn sale. And then you also had opportunity for add-ons and things like that. So tell me a little bit about why and how y'all are set up for those sales.
Sure. So the biggest thing that is here, it's tradition here in our district, is everything sells. We've only had 1 year where something didn't go bought. And what we do here is we have 122 live auction lots. We have a grand and reserve of every division, but our grand and reserve showmen also get an auction spot. So that's a big deal in our district.
Yeah.
We care about your showmanship abilities, and they sell after the grand and reserves. So it's a top auction spot. So we sell those, and then it's percentage off the other ones. But if you don't make live auction, that's okay. We have a thing called a barn sale, and it's a predetermined price. So steers sell for $2,000, pigs sell for $400, and anybody in the community, grandparent business, can come in and buy that animal, and they get to process it and keep the meat, and the kid gets that set dollar amount. And every year we sell out of our barn sale.
Wow.
Our pigs and steers sell the fastest. Steers will sell it in the first 10 minutes. Pigs are right after that. And then it normally goes goats, chickens, lambs, rabbits. And they get the meat for all of them. We process all the animals. So you can choose to have that rabbit meat or not.
Yeah.
Then the last thing we do is called add-ons. And we start those about a month and a half before the fair starts. And you can send out the information on how to do it online. We did online first time this year, which was awesome. And anyone can go and just give you additional money. So if you make barn sale for $400 and your grandma gives you $50, well, you now made $450. I mean, we have some kids that didn't make live auction, but their check looks like they did. We have a girl that got a $4,000 check, but she sold her animal for $400 in the barn sale. Everything else was add-ons.
That is amazing.
And it was businesses and families, and she just went all over the place and advocated for herself and got her name out there and went in official dress and introduced herself, and people just handed her money all over the place. So it's a cool thing to see. And this year with the new online add-on system that ShoWorks rolled out, we had $60,000 more in add-ons than we've ever had.
Oh, wow. So how did y'all do add-ons before?
We have an old school triplicate paper form.
Okay.
And the kids got them in January, and they would mail them out, and they had to be postmarked back to us by a certain date, or they could be turned in during the fair week. And it had to be all cash or check.
That's amazing.
And they've been doing that for 40, 50 years here.
Long-standing tradition. And
yes. Yeah. And some people call them barn sales. Some people call them freezer sales, but they're the same thing. But we try to ensure that everything gets bought, and we have buyers that come in at the end that'll say, okay, I have money left over. Is there anything left in barn sale? And we'll be, sure, we have 5 pigs and a rabbit left. Okay, I'll buy them. We want to make sure everything's sold. So some buyers will save money for the end to make sure every kid is sold.
It's wonderful to see how community businesses pull together to make sure that the kids are able to not only recuperate their costs, but be rewarded for their hard work.
Right. And it's great to see it. And this year we had buyer groups that had money left over, and we left our add-ons open for an hour after our auction. And they were in there putting $1,000 here, $500 here, $250 here. So they used all their money for this year, and kids got money after the auction that they normally wouldn't have got this year.
Yeah. Why not?
Right. Exactly. Why not? So, and then we turn around and cut the checks back to the kids, and they can buy animals for the next year. We already had our online entries for our steer entries for next year, and they get steers on May 3rd for the next year's fair.
Amazing. Y'all are definitely a year-round production.
Oh, yes. Year round. And unlike county fairs, we find the animals, we find the breeders, we do everything within our school district. So.
That's excellent.
And even though you're not a county fair, you're doing all of these things just like the fairs do. And
correct.
So there's some lessons learned. And some of these techniques, I think all the county fairs could use for their fundraising, because that's the name of the game in the auction. Raise the most money for these kids. And of course, coming in from last year where everyone's thinking, oh shoot, how do I do an online sale? We're not gathering. You guys were in the auction barn, had a great crowd this year. And what things were new for this year that you wouldn't have even thought of a few years ago before COVID kind of pushed us all through the internet?
Well, I will tell you, Katy ISD has been using ShoWorks since I think 2005, 6, this same way. But this year, 180, we did ShoWorks all new. We've never done online entries before. We did online entries this year. We have never done online add-ons or an online auction. We did it this year. We live streamed our show. We've never done that this year. So we essentially created a whole new fair this year to accommodate COVID and being 2021. You got to change with the times. And it was a great excuse to upgrade our fair. And I think it really worked out for us in the end because there was more exposure to kids. More people in the community got to watch. Our live stream was full every day. We showed the live auction and we showed every show during the week because our fair is 4 days long, plus the fifth day's auction. We were not using ShoWorks to its full capacity until this year. And now that we're using it to its full capacity, we wonder why it took us so long to do that.
What are some of the benefits that it gained you that were just so eye-popping? Like, why didn't we do this sooner? Or I'm so thankful.
I think the biggest one is we used to have buyers register by mail. And they would mail us in their information and we would hand type buyers in for weeks. We used to hand type every add-on in. We did so much typing. It would take us almost a month to be ready to bill after Livestock Show because we would have to type every invoice in because we weren't using the online component of ShoWorks. And this year we switched to that component. We billed 48 hours after the fair was over.
That's unheard of.
48 hours. We billed on Monday. Our fair was Saturday. We billed Monday morning. And out of $615,000 that we made, we only have $30,000 outstanding.
That's awesome.
That's it. And we've already cut checks because we take an 8% commission. So we've reached the 92%. So the kids already have their checks.
And that's what this is all about. The kids need the money.
The kids need the money so they can invest in a project for next year. And if they don't get their money in time, they can't invest for the next year. And they need it for college or, whatever they're going to use it for. But we aren't really a county fair, but a lot of the kids in our school district, we don't have a county fair here. Harris County in the Houston area, when Hurricane Harvey happened, they dismantled it and it's never come back. So this is a lot of these kids' county fair. This is their only chance to show a livestock show animal. So that's why we keep it so similar to a county fair. And if every county fair did add-ons and barn sale, they would see their numbers increase immensely.
Yeah, good tips. Good tips.
What people are going to say is, okay, that's great. Y'all had all these successes, but y'all hit some road bumps along the way. What are some of the challenges that you faced either with, it could even be with the buyers, the exhibitors, with your admin team, what were some of the struggles that you had to overcome?
We have a lot of people here that love to buy in large buyer groups. So for us, a big hiccup that we hit was our Grand Champion steer was split between 10 buyers.
Wow.
So there's not really a way to do that until you close the fair out. So that was one thing I usually divide it up as live auction goes on, but I had to wait. So it's still simple, but we have a lot of people that love to buy in groups or they're a member of multiple groups.
Yeah.
So they have the same phone number. So when they try to get their buyer account code, they have their phone number on 3 different accounts. So it doesn't know what account to send in their code to, so I trained a teacher how to look up codes. And that teacher was in charge of sitting by a phone all day. And if a buyer called needed their code, she looked their code up so they could buy online. We don't have a ton of people in our district that know how to use ShoWorks. I would say I'm probably the most proficient. But I could run it by myself with no problem. It's that simple to use once you have the program down. And I had a couple of teachers that sat with me, ag teachers, so they could learn the process, and they sat through a training before we started. And they were entering buyers and selling animals in barn sale and helping buyers come in and do add-ons all day long after I taught them how to do it. So that was something that we had to learn and we had to get around because we've always done it by paper. And that buy now function just changes everything. I think that was super helpful. And using the online entries really works because then you can do everything online with that web ID that it gives them. And that's super important. And we've never done that before.
Yeah, it's a lot of work just to gather photos and any video clips, descriptions from the kids themselves. And we talked to a number of fairs where they have a process where they need to then go back and ask for more photos, or they didn't get the photos up front, and then they want to round up all the kids afterwards. And now, if you have 25 animals, it's one thing, but when you have several hundred, that could be a logistical nightmare.
Oh yeah, and the biggest thing for us is it collects their W-9. That's a huge thing for us.
Yeah.
Because we turn them into our school district finance office, and that's how they cut the kids' checks. And we were having to do that by hand, and now it's all digital using FairVault. It's amazing. Like, there's a lot of cool things on there that I've been to ShoWorks training, and I don't think I ever realized the vastness that ShoWorks offered until we put it into play.
That's neat. It's interesting because you are a school district, and so many school districts have very strict guidelines around vendors and, who you can work with and how you can accept payments and things like that. But y'all went full on utilizing FairVault and ShoWorks to make it all happen this year. And I think that's really powerful that you've got the tools that give your district the confidence to let y'all run with this.
Right. And once it had to go through the legal counsel of our school district. They had to approve all the contracts and everything. And we utilize PayPal. Well, their biggest selling point for our district, and it could be for other fairs or other school districts using ShoWorks, is their credit card fee was less than what we were paying for the credit card company the school district uses. So for them, it was a win-win because they were saving a percentage, one whole percent on every fee. And we don't charge the kids or the buyer the fee. We pay that.
Yeah.
So for us, 1% was a huge deal.
It is a huge deal.
Yeah. And so the district was like, you know what? That's going to save a ton of money right then and there. So off $615,000, that's 1%'s a lot.
ShoWorks Auction is taking junior livestock shows and sales by storm. As the leader in integrated live and online auctions, there's a viable solution to enhance every fair. Check out www.fairsoftware.com today. That is true. Anybody can go and get a Stripe account or just start swiping credit cards, but then you get the retail rates. Whereas, we got hundreds and hundreds of fairs across the country that kind of the buying power, we get a great deal through that stuff. So it helps save that money. Now, there's software stuff, there's things that can be automated, but pulling off these successful sales, I imagine there's some specific things that you did around buyer communication just to rally the buyers and get them motivated to actually show up. Do you have any secrets that you made sure that you did just because you've learned?
We're kind of lucky in our district in that it's been around so long. It's a long-standing tradition, especially with the old Katy community. The people in the old community, they show up and buy. And as these new schools have opened and they understand what it is and what they're doing and what they're being involved in, it's also grown. So this year we had about 500 new buyers that I've never recognized before this year. And they are buyers that have come from areas around our other schools. Our district is divided by Interstate 10. So we had a lot of new buyers from the south side of Interstate 10. And that these kids, what we do is we encourage our FFA kids to go out in official dress. And we have a buyer's pamphlet that the district prints in color with all the information on how to be a buyer. And we welcome them out and we feed them lunch. We feed them barbecue from Spring Creek Barbecue. They donate our lunch every year. And we invited them out, and an architect firm showed up we've never heard of, and they spent $8,000.
Amazing.
And they're next to one of our high schools. And they said, well, this sounds cool. And they came out and bought. Well, they saw another architect firm there, and they're like, well, we can't let them outbid us.
No way.
So it's just a community affair. And we've got a buyers group called the Old Katy Originals, and they're all old FFA members that buy together. Well, then the Taylor High crew was like, well, we can't not have a buyers group. So they started the Blue Posse to bid against Old Katy Originals. So it's a very competitive environment, but they also want to come together. So they'll come together and say, okay, we want to spend $20,000 on this pig. How much can y'all bring? How much can y'all bring? That's why there's 10 buyers on a pig, but they want it to break the previous year's record. So there's a lot of camaraderie and competitiveness, but it works. But what the biggest thing I think that helps is we send our kids out and we personally in person invite those buyers out. Every campus.
You're teaching so much more than just the responsibility of, raising the animals and getting it to show the showmanship. Y'all are really teaching your kids to be a member of the community and what it takes to, sell their product and sell themselves and,
right. Well, we also do a catalog ad book that we sell in the fall, and it's filled with advertisements. Also been going on since the 40s. So if you ever come to our fairgrounds, you can see the books back to the 40s. We have them all. And people buy advertisements. So we have a car dealership that's been here since the 50s. They still buy an ad every year.
Wow.
And people, when they're like, oh, I need an orthodontist, they go to that catalog ad book and they look and they see who donated to the livestock show for the school district. And they're like, oh, I'm going to go to Bright Orthodontics because he donated. Yeah. He bought an ad in this book. I've heard his name at auction. I'm going to send my kid there to get their braces. So, and we've kept that catalog book going on. In the 40s, it was this little tiny thin, like 10-page thing. It's now a 500-page thick book.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And you can, if you go to the Toyota dealership or the Chevy dealership or the cleaner, they're sitting out. It's like a prideful thing. They're like, oh, I bought an ad. Here's my ad book. Because they get a copy of the ad book if they buy an ad. So those same people then turn around and come and buy at the auction. So we kind of recruit them year round. Yes. And in different ways.
So I'm sure county fairs are already getting some new ideas, but if there's any FFA groups around the country who are inspired by you, what kind of team does it take to run effectively an FFA fair? How many volunteers? What are all the different roles that are organized to make this happen?
It's actually pretty interesting. Our fair is completely run between myself and another ag specialist and our ag teachers. That's it. So like I said, we have 38 ag teachers. So we all have different roles at different times. I'm in charge of all the ShoWorks. So I help enter the kids, help break the classes on ShoWorks, run the reports that they need. But we have a grid line that we put out and teachers can go sign up for things they want to do. Like some of them might want to do lamb weigh-in. Some might want to be the ring steward. Some might want to be in charge. We have FFA Sweethearts still. Our Sweethearts handle all the awards. They might want to be the coordinator for the Sweethearts. And every teacher takes jobs all fair long, depending on like, if you're a teacher in charge of pigs, well, don't take things during the pig show, work during the goat show. And every teacher is expected to take a job and pull their weight, and they all really get along and help each other out. So we run it solely with our teachers in our district, and even a smaller district could make it successful. So there's other smaller districts around us that have school shows with less teachers, and they make it happen just with their 6 teachers that they've got. Because with ShoWorks doing all the work for you in the background, as long as you have people there to run the ring and break your classes and things like that, you can do everything else on the computer. It's pretty foolproof. It's really actually cool. And it gives the kids another opportunity to sell and make money besides a major livestock show or a county fair.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, on actual, the different parts of the event, like doing the show, what would you say is the minimal physical staff to be able just to do the logistics of the show? Who do you have where?
There's only 2 of us. Me and a lady named Susan do all the background logistical work of the show.
In the ring,
we do it all.
Walking the animals.
Oh, you're talking about that? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I would say 6.
Okay.
We have somebody on the mic. We have somebody walking around, following the judge around for placings. We have a ring steward. We have a teacher in charge of lining the animals up, and then we have a teacher at the exit gate. Mm-hmm. You could maybe even get away with 4.
Okay. And then how about the sale? What are your physical positions there in the auction barn?
So sale's pretty cool. We have 3 ag teachers that sit up on the auction block with our auctioneer. We have one that looks at buyers, one that records prices, and one that looks up paddles if our other one didn't catch them, our other girl didn't catch them. We've got 5 ag teachers on the floor catching bids, but we also have community volunteers that like to catch bids. Like our retired mayor wants to be one of the callers.
Yep.
And then we've got 4 teachers in our barn sale room that they do anybody who walks in and says, I want to buy a barn sale animal, or I want to give an add-on. Since we just now doing it online, we're like, okay, cool, come on in. And they go into the room with those 4 teachers, and those teachers are sitting on a laptop, and they help register them and help them buy, and they show them how to do it. And then I run the computer for the ShoWorks portion. And then we have a group of runners that run the paperwork back and forth to who it needs to go to. And then we have 2 teachers on our photo booth.
Yeah. So it sounds very doable for anybody who wants to do this. And how many animals did you have this year?
Around 500. And this year we had a laptop in the back. And as things sold, we had teachers marking animals with their processing color. So every processor's assigned a marker color. And if that pig went to this meat market, it got a blue line down its back. So then the next morning when we load them out, they're already color coded because we did it as they sold.
Well, I can't speak for the rest of them, but I took advantage of your barn sale. I think I came in a few days in and there was a lamb still available. And so I swooped it up and had it sent to Belleville Meat Market.
Oh, Belleville's good.
They did an amazing job. I just tried some of the sausage last night, and it was, I mean, you have lamb chops and the whole 2 racks of ribs, but then they did the sausage and the spices. Yeah,
their
I can
sweet
definitely
chipotle
vouch for them.
sausage is really, if you got their sweet chipotle, that's my favorite thing there.
I think I got the 20% pork garlic sausage.
Oh, that one's good too. That one is Belleville.
Hey, very good.
Belleville's our top meat market that most of our processors use.
Now, how many animals could you expect a meat market or a butcher to take, or are they all just totally different?
Never have limited us. This year, I want to say our biggest one was Belleville, and I think they took 150 head out of 500.
Okay.
And they took them. I think our next highest was Eckerman's, and I think they had 60 to 80. And Eckerman's and Belleville are just down the street from each other. So, I mean, no one's ever turned anything away. But we also have a cool thing that you can, I forgot to tell you this. We have a thing that you can donate it. So say you go and you want to buy this kid's animal in barn sale or live auction, but you don't want the meat. You can donate the meat and you can pick where you want the market value to go. So you can donate it to a scholarship committee, and we have the scholarship committees listed. You can donate it back to the FFA chapter, or you can donate it to a local charity that we've got. And what it does is we have somebody that gives us the bids in the market rate, and anything that's donated, he comes and picks them up, and then those people get a check. So our LD Robinson Scholarship Fund, which is named after the ag teacher who helped start our fair back in the 40s, they do a $4,000 scholarship to seniors. They get $1,000 a year for 4 years.
Awesome.
They'll get a check from the market rate of all the animals donated LD Robinson, and they'll get a $5,000 check.
Nice.
Or the Cinco Ranch FFA chapter might get a $500 check. So if you don't want the meat, you can donate the market value price back to whatever organization you like. So you're not required to buy the meat either.
That's great. All going to a good cause.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, I want to give you a moment because you do a lot of work getting the show, getting sponsors, getting the exhibitors all lined out, getting all your teachers, ag teachers organized, and producing an amazing fair. But this year was kind of special because you actually had new facilities in place. And I just want to give you a chance to share a little bit about your facilities.
Yes, our school district, I mean, a lot of people know our school district because of athletics, but our school district also heavily supports agriculture education. And we have been using the same pavilion to show in for years. And it's right across from Katy High School. It was small and old. And in a bond, they put in a new ag science center and rodeo arena, and it passed. So they built us a $30 million facility. So we have a huge outdoor rodeo arena.
Wow.
Because we have our livestock show and rodeo that goes along hand in hand. And we have a local rodeo association that puts it on. And we have our own livestock show facility, and the actual show facility is air conditioned with preset bleachers and a preset auction block. And it's huge and it's big. And right behind it, there's roll up doors that go to the back where all the animal pens are set up.
Wow.
And it backs up to our ag barn. So our school has invested in an ag barn for every FFA program in our school district. So you may live in a neighborhood, but it's okay. We've got an ag barn that you can raise your animal in. And during the school year, a bus will pick you up from school, bring you to feed, and take you back to school before school starts.
Nice.
Wow.
So the district really they support the kids. They want the kids to be active. And you may have to get on the bus at 5:45 in the morning, but they will take you to the barns. You will have time to feed your animal, and you will be back at school before the first period bell rings. And all those facilities are in one large area, and there's a big pond filled with catfish that you can fish at. There's some classrooms out there that have a floral cooler in it and other things. So it's really a multi-purpose facility that the district put time and energy in that we're getting to use now, and other people are now starting to rent it and use it, which was one of the goals of the district. So the biggest one is Houston Livestock Show did their calf scramble there the last 2 weekends since there was no rodeo.
Wow.
In the last 2 weekends, it was packed with scramblers and Houston rodeo volunteers, and 2 of our FFA chapters ran the concession stands for them. And it was an awesome event. Since we have the rodeo arena, we have the facilities to do a cow scramble. And everyone got to come out, and it's a big open rodeo arena with a cover on it. And it was awesome to see all the kids back out there scrambling and catching and getting money to raise for next year. We would have never been able to do that in our old facility. So, and we also host FFA career development contests at our facilities as well. We've hosted 2 so far of 2,000 kids each.
Oh my goodness.
That's fantastic. I will say some of the people at the Northern or the Western Fair saying air-conditioned arena. What do they need that for? In Houston, in the summer, or late spring, 100% humidity, your sweat doesn't work. Yeah, that makes a huge difference.
But even in February, there's years that we've shown in February and it's 90 degrees outside, and our kids in our school district show in FFA official dress. So that was the biggest reason why we air conditioned it, is they're wearing those blue corduroy jackets and black pants while they show. You need it to be like 66 degrees in there. So that was the biggest thing, is even in February, it could be hot here. Because I'm from Kansas. I mean, I get it. It's not always this hot everywhere, but it was important for our district, and it's a big selling point for people because they can host a summer fair in there and it's air conditioned.
Yeah, that's awesome.
For down here, that's 102 and 100% humidity, so that's a big deal.
Makes a world of difference.
Huge difference. Well, Ashlee, I really appreciate you coming on. I think that you are doing a great job representing Katy ISD, Katy, Texas, Harris County very well. You have so much to share, and I hope everyone enjoyed getting to know a little bit more about how y'all do things at Katy ISD.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
It was fun.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the County Fair Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, share with a friend, and tell us what you'd like to hear on the show by going to www.countyfairpodcast.com. And to you and yours, may God bless you.